pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Roll call of council, please. Councilmember Gerson. Here. Councilmember Jones.
Here.
Councilmember Tate.
Here.
Councilmember Olivera.
Here.
Councilmember Putnam.
Here.
Councilmember Steiger.
Here.
And Councilmember Walker. Okay, then. Okay, so are there any additions or changes to tonight's agenda? Seeing none, do I hear a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved. Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, moving on. The next item on the agenda is the public hearing for 2015 revenues and ad valorem. We'll open the public hearing at this time. Let us ask for it.
Good evening. We're here to have the hearing for the 2015 revenue sources, which includes, of course, the ad valorem tax levy for our property taxes in 2015. I've seen the preliminary numbers from King County, and it's pretty close to what we got last year, probably about $30,000 increase. For now, there might be more increases coming as they true up the numbers when we get the final sometime in January, but we'll get more concrete numbers by December when we pass the final budget. I also included descriptions of the major sources of revenue in the general fund in this packet, as well as the streets fund. All the other funds are based off of their own revenues, such as water, sewer, stormwater, or transfers, or such as the 300 Municipal Capital Improvement Fund, Municipal Capital Improvement Fund. They have a dedicated REIT, real estate excise tax, that comes to that fund. And the 305 fund is the Capital Parks Fund, which also has park impact fees and some taxes that they collect for their revenues. Is there any questions from council?
Questions from council? Councilmember Putnam.
You said we're looking at about roughly the same increase as last year. Do we have an idea of what the actual rate would be compared to last year?
Yes, I have it here in front of me. But like I said, this is a rough draft for them. But so last year the mill rate was 1 point, let's see, trying to find where they have it on here, 1.62685. This year's right now is 1.61456, so you see how close it is. And we can't even take 1% increase because we're above that, which is 1.6. So.
Okay. Further questions from council? All right. Thank you, Richard. With that, we'll go ahead and open it up to comments and questions comments from the audience. Are you talking on the budget hearing? Okay. We're in a public hearing. We're taking comments right now on the budget hearing. Second call for comments on the budget hearing.
Okay. Sorry.
It's hard being a reporter and a citizen. Jean Fancher, 37248 55th Avenue South, 98001 in the City of Pacific. Honorable Mayor and Council, regarding the budget hearing. I did ask for a set of questions, which I posted on the blog and sent to the mailing list for the Pacific City News. And yes, we have no raise in property taxes available. In fact, the total valuation was $564,179, or no, was it $1 million? Yeah. Anyhow, it was a lot of money, but would the property taxes amount to $884,968, according to the answers I received. There were quite a list of places that we have income, And as you said, we can't raise the property taxes, but I did see really the largest line item with local real estate or retail sales tax and use tax at $675,000. There are also some large utility taxes, cell phone taxes, garbage franchise fees. It looks like pretty much everything is static, but about the only place you can raise taxes is on some of the utility fees. And while I don't like paying $1 or $2 on my cell phone and telephone taxes, if it helps the city out by funding underfunded departments, I'm willing to pay a couple of cents more. You know, one of the income lines in here was stone soup from the senior center, $350. Another one was coffee fund and crafts, $500, $200. That the senior programs and the youth programs are raising money for their own funding by basically bake sales, does really not say well for the funding of some of those departments and the way the funds balance out. So if we could raise funds in those departments and parks and some of the lower priority departments, I'd be willing to pay a few more cents on telephone and utilities and stormwater. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, any further comments on tonight's budget hearing? Come on up.
Barbara Lawrence, P.O. Box 363, Auburn, Washington, 904-9071. Can somebody email me a copy of the preliminary budget?
So you can talk to Richard from you.
Okay.
That's it?
Yes, and I want to look at it, but haven't seen it yet.
Okay, further comments on tonight's budget? Second call for comments on tonight's budget. Third and final call for comments on tonight's budget. Okay, that public hearing is closed. Thank you very much. Moving on, next item on the agenda is audience comment. And first up I have Angie Dyke. Come on up, Angie.
That's Angie Day.
Thank you.
I live at 722 3rd Avenue Northeast in Pacific, and I'm here to just say thank you for the support that public health has received from donor and council members. That's about it. I want to just say that, just to add, that I hope that the support continues as other neighboring cities in the South King County area are stepping forward and putting forward their support. I hope that it continues and we find some means to keep public health services open and maintain them as they are right now, present day. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, we have Dean Fancher.
Okay. Once again.
Amy has a copy. These are for the council area. Jean Fancher, 37248 55th Avenue South. I'd like to speak about a topic that was, well, actually not the topic that was brought up last week at workshop, but the way comments were made during the discussion about changing the job proposed for the police department from a civilian public safety director to a commissioned peace officer. In the discussion, there was a change, talking about a change in leadership, and several statements were made, which I feel, one, question the integrity of the mayor as the manager and the council as policymakers, and cast a negative spin on the professionalism of our police officers. I haven't talked to anybody in the police department about this. It's just my opinion. I've gotten feedback that says, you know, you might not want to say anything because there could be repercussions. But this is what I think. First, I heard a council member say it is very, very obvious that Ordinance 1880 was groundwork to get rid of John. and that someone has a mission to replace John, referring to Public Safety Director Calkins. I believe these characterizations are uncalled for in a council meeting and are not allowed by Robert's Rules of Order. Second, I heard another council member say, I'm looking at the impact on the police department organization, and if there is no significant savings, then why would we disrupt the organization? He added about possible savings. If only $5,000 for the turmoil it would create, it ain't worth it. Well, to me, dictionary says disrupt means break up. Turmoil means tumult, disturbance, commotion, uproar. Does anybody here really believe that the police department would break up and be in turmoil if there was a change of management? I expect commission law enforcement professionals to be loyal to the law, to the city and its people. As professionals, they pledge to, quote, never act officiously or permit personal feelings, prejudices, political beliefs, aspirations, animosities, or friendships to influence my decisions, end quote. They dedicate themselves before God to their chosen profession, law enforcement. This is from the Law Enforcement Code of Ethics, quoted from WASPIC report in 2009, and it's on the back page of your copy. If our police department officers are not true to this code, and if a legally adopted policy would disrupt the police department or put it in turmoil, then God help Pacific. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to speak on during audience comments on something that is not on the agenda? The park board is on the agenda.
But it's an audience comment, it's not about the park board.
Okay, I just want to make sure. Thank you.
Kay Hall, 102 Alder Lane South, Pacific 98047. So I, as a citizen, have come to say thank you to Mayor Geyer for coming out to our Make a Difference Day. We made a difference at Terry Home. We cleaned their windows, something I typically don't do, and had to learn how to use a power blower, which I suck at, which I admit to. And I wanted to make sure, in case you all weren't aware, we have an Earth Day on April the 25th in 2015, and I would hope that I would see more council participation. We'll be back at Terry Home because they have a lighting issue, they have a boggy garden issue, they have a landscaping issue, and I think we're going to donate some more stuff to them for Earth Day to make it all look a little bit better, and by that time our park will be open. So I just want to make sure as a citizen you know that it's April 25th, 2015. She's putting it in the notes. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to speak on something that is not on tonight's agenda? Seeing no one, we'll be moving on to reports, starting with the mayor's report. So first of all, I wanted to thank the Park Board for organizing the Make a Difference Day and making Terry Home their spot for the day. As a board member from Terry Home, I'm speaking on behalf of the board, and they were very grateful for all the generous work, and also the residents really appreciated the hot dog barbecue that we had afterwards. So that was really enjoyed, and the president did contact me later on the day and wanted to make sure that I expressed to the park board their thanks for all the hard work that they did, and they're very, very grateful. I want to thank the council for attending last week's budget workshop. There was a lot of work got done. I think there was a lot of good discussion, and I appreciate your time coming out on extra night to attend that meeting. This Wednesday, Pacific will be hosting the Cities and Schools meeting. This is a quarterly meeting. We get together. I've been on the committee. I would love to see some council members be interested in getting on that committee as well. It's like I said, it's once a quarter. We get together, we have dinner, we talk about things that are going on in the school district. There is Green River Community College's attendance, Auburn School District is in attendance, and then mayors and council from all three cities. It's a really good opportunity to understand what's going on in the district, and since Pacific is hosting it, I've reached out to Darcy and Joanne to see if they would be interested in preparing the meal and we charge for the meals, so the proceeds go to the senior and youth for an activity. So I'm looking forward to whatever they have cooked up for dinner that night, but I would welcome any council members that might be interested. It's this Wednesday, 6 o'clock, over at the senior center.
The 29th.
The 29th, correct. And lastly, I wanted to share with council, and thanking them for signing the resolution regarding in favor of keeping the Auburn Public Health Clinic open. I did attend the hearing last Thursday at Kent Regional Justice Center and testified on behalf of the citizens. One of the things that I brought to their attention, and I'm not sure if they were aware of that, the number of people that use those facilities is 10% of our population that counts on that facility to be open for various services that they provide. And if it does close, then the closest one would be in Federal Way, which, you know, the people that live in our community would probably have to take 3 buses to get there. And so my thoughts are that they probably are not going to bother with the buses and not take care of themselves, not get the public health needs that are offered by those services. So, with that being said, I have been working with the mayor of Auburn and the mayor of Algona, and we're working on a solution, you know, to get us by for the next couple of years. So it is in the works, and we're sitting at the table and having those conversations. Let's be tuned for more information to come regarding that. All right. Next up, city administrator.
I'm back. I'm currently working on completing the preliminary budget, which is due to council by Friday, so you'll find it in your box and on your surface. I'm not sure, I'll put a summary in your box, so I'll give you the one by department in your email, okay? And it will be mostly the completed budget. There will be a little bit less besides numbers to add to that, but it will have the mayor's message and also our narratives for each department. So hopefully to get some good graphs and pie charts for you as well, along with the final numbers. The numbers, as you know, they change as we go through the end of the year, so we'll be tweaking those through November, but this is the first step towards that. We had a negotiation meeting last week with the union, the uniform union, on Tuesday, on the 21st, and that was when I presented the city's counter proposal. And I'll be meeting with the council tonight and next Monday to discuss how they want to respond. The next meeting with the uniform union is November 6th at 10 a.m., which is a Thursday, a week from this Thursday. I'm currently working with our attorney, Carol Morris, on the following ordinances. And these ordinances that I'm working on are for house cleaning, basically, for cleaning up funds that are closed, so there's no activity in, and transferring the monies in those funds to the general fund per RCW, state RCW. So this will be on the LID Redemption Fund 206, the LID Free Reserve Fund 207, and the 2000 Fire GO Bond. And then we'll be transferring all those monies in no later than December. And that'll be coming to council in November. I'll also be working with our personnel attorney, Sophia, maybe on changing the code on exchange time. The mayor and I have talked quite extensively about the difficulties of having management keep track of exchange time, and it works to both the city's benefit as well as the managers to go to something like management days. And I'll be showing you comparatives how the cities do that in November, so we'll be bringing that forward, because I need to be busier. So anyway, we'll be bringing that. I'm also working with our investment broker. I have one bond that's we're going to buy tomorrow. It's a small one, $158,000, but it'll quadruple what we're earning from the state pool. It's a short term, it's about 5 months. And then I'm looking at another large bond to go out 4 years or 5 years. When I was talking with our broker on Friday, and I realized that we're going to bring in $9,000 interest in December, a little bit more actually, probably about $10,000. That's more than the last 3 years we've had. So if I get another instrument like that, we can get up to $20,000 to $30,000 a year. That's just in the general fund alone. That's going to, it's going to be like 10 times what we've been getting. And that's one way we can really impact, as long as we're careful and we look at having it laddered, so every year we have it coming true. Coming to yield, so we'll be getting $1 million back and just rolling it over as the interest rates are, depending upon if they go up or down. And I'm going to show that to council once we have our first yield, our interest yield, in December. And that's it. Any questions?
Questions from council?
Thank you.
So, court, there are no stats for your books until the end of the month, so I can see them in next week. Public safety.
Council, I have nothing to report, then we can collect report in a couple of weeks. Yeah. Try to read questions.
Questions from council?
Thank you.
Thank you. Public works.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. The Public Works report tonight consists of 3 items. The first one is a seasonal reminder that some of the activities that are going on with the construction projects. With the rainy weather and the wet weather, we are now in that season where erosion control is very important. So the projects, capital projects at Stewart and Valentine are taking the appropriate measures. And last Friday, our contractor was so diligent, they self-reported that they had a problem with ecology, corrected it. But nonetheless, ecology will be watching, Department of Ecology will be watching us as well as all the private development sites to make sure that the stormwater is properly handled through the winter season. Secondly, there was a question a couple council meetings ago about the striping project. And I just wanted to report back that we've made contact with Pierce County, and we will be correcting one of the striping issues up on First Avenue. And then internally, as weather permits, not only for Pierce County, but for our crews, we'll be taking care of a couple of those areas that were scared due to some of the parking vehicles. And then third and lastly is just a small administrative task that I've been working on that I've heard is not only of interest to the administration, but you as council as well, is the vehicle equipment inventory replacement schedule. So that's getting some attention by myself, and I hope to have that put together fairly soon, reporting back what that schedule would look like over the coming 6 to 20 year time period. That's all I have to report tonight. Any questions?
Questions? Bruce?
Just wanted to thank you for the diligence on First Avenue, taking a look at those striping issues and the concern I had in relationship to where that vehicle was parked. I noticed that Friday that the vehicle was not parked in the street anymore. So either somebody communicated or you just magically decided after a month not to park in the street. But it makes a great difference compared to having that vehicle in that street where that contour is on that line. Because like I expressed to you, I've had 2 incidences where vehicles have crossed the line into the oncoming traffic with me being the traffic coming after them, and then a school bus. The last thing we needed was having any kind of problem associated with that. So again, thank you very much for that.
Okay, Councilmember King.
One thing I noticed with the restriping is we didn't get the crosswalk reestablished in front of the police station, crossing the street there. Is that going to get done?
That's one I'd like to, it's more technical in nature and there's engineering issues that if it's council's pleasure, I'd rather take that to Public Works Committee to address the ins and outs of that.
Is it striping or restriping?
The crosswalk.
Painting the crosswalk back on the road there. When they repaved it, they covered up the old.
Councilmember Garberding.
Can I ask what the engineering issues are with the crosswalk?
That it would not warrant a crosswalk to be located in that location. With a mid-block crosswalk just down the road a few feet, it wouldn't meet the warrants for putting a crosswalk in.
Do we care if it meets the warrants if we want it?
That's a policy question that I'd like to take up with the Public Works Committee.
Well, one question I would have is the parking for the police department, for anyone going in for any kind of an issue. I've had to go to the police department myself. If you have some kind of emergency of sorts, I can't understand why you would not have a crosswalk that would take you directly to emergency services, regardless if there was a crosswalk, 90 feet down the road?
There's other,
Whatever.
There's other issues involved with it.
right, just very quickly, but I don't want to spend a whole bunch of time on this, but I'm happy to answer any questions, is the other issue is the ADA accessibility, that you need proper landings for the crosswalk to make it ADA compliant, and currently neither side of the street meets that standard.
Any other questions from the council? And I just wanted to say, good job on West Valley getting all that trimmed down and mowed on the west side of the road over there. It looks really good.
Thank you, I'll pass that on to the crews.
Yeah, so good. Good job.